Hello and welcome to Explore the Neurodiverse. Welcome everybody, I'm Jennifer and this is Explore the Neurodiverse, a place where we discuss real life neurodiversity, lived experiences and share them with our audience, each other, and learn a little bit more as we go. So if I talk about why we're all here today, we met each other via the Insights autism groups that they hold. Yes. Maybe you could explain what that group is and what it's for before we move any further forward.
Yeah, sure. It's Insights means sort of psychology, children's psychology. They do speech therapy, etc. And they had a great idea of putting groups for kids and teens to get together. I think it was about 5 kids in each group, but they get them so that a couple of them have things in common, and they take them away for an hour and a half and do little fun things. And it's a way to get the kids to socialise and meet like people who aren't judging them, and they can find their people really, which I think is the important part.
Yeah.
And during that time, then all the parents go in a room and they meet, and first you're all very quiet and shy, and then at the end of it, lots of people are crying, telling their full life stories.
Yeah.
And I think what was great about that was it was such a safe place where, you know, to hear other people's stories and like stories coming up. I think for myself, what was great was to explain where I came from, having a child of 15 with autism. A lot of parents have only just got a diagnosis, so I could tell them a bit of that journey that they'll be on, and that's how we met really.
That is how we met, yeah. So our children were in the group together and we were in the sessions together and we connected there and have stayed in touch, as have our children, and the younger ones now know each other as well. And we both obviously have a shared passion for driving forward information, I would say, and giving people the knowledge and the tools and empowerment to understand what neurodiversity is, how it impacts their life, and how they can help themselves, their children, whoever it is that's being affected by neurodiversity.
Yeah, I think we're both real advocates, and I think you and I are very happy to speak up and put our heads above the parapet a bit as well.
Well, I think that goes for all three of us, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I think that's a really good point, though. So I've been to lots of groups for parents of the neurodiverse. I'm sure you have as well.
Yeah.
And I always found myself to be the loudest person in the room. And I've always got so much to say. But I also, in doing that, realized that not everyone's like me.
Yeah.
And there's lots and lots of parents out there who are struggling and they don't know where to start. They've been sent out of a clinic with a diagnosis and okay, so you've got this piece of paper. What does it mean? Where do you go? What do you do? And there was a real gap in terms of that information. And that's what sort of got me thinking in terms of like doing the podcast is like, well, someone needs to be talking about these things more and, you know, normalizing everything that's happening. Very much the emphasis of you are not alone. None of us are alone in this, but it feels so alone. It feels like an isolated experience. And the time when you're going through it with your child or children, you feel like you're the only one that is going through it. And that is not the case. Yeah. And that was sort of what I kept taking out of these parents groups is that we need more of a voice. We need more of a community. We need more advocacy. Yeah. We need to normalize everything and make everyone understand, not everyone, but just anyone who's going through this experience, help them to understand that they're not alone and maybe gives them some resource and some tools and some place to go where they can find that help or find community, right? And that's pretty much where you're at, right? That's where you come in
into
here.
the picture.
Meeting in a different type of group.
So you guys know each other because your children both go to the same school, right?
Yeah.
But then you also have a similar passion to us as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I think that It's been an interesting journey, to say the least, and you struck a few points in the fact that we're not alone. My journey was slightly different. My kids are a bit younger, I would say. However, having your circle, I think that is what is so important, and what we felt that is the main driver in everything, and to fuel your confidence, to know that you are enough, you can navigate this journey and you're not driving this on your own. And in that, my idea was to create that circle, that safe space where parents and their children eventually will be connecting together, being empowered, having the resources, and being able to navigate that. Now, I won't lie, I had a lot of imposter syndrome, my own journey of you're not enough, you can't do this. And until I was empowered to be like, yeah, no, you can transfer your skills from your career, which is not related to this domain at all, and apply it in the fact that you love to connect people, you love to empower people. And this is the most topic that is empowering for me at the moment, that I need to bring out to the world. And this is where I had the conversation with Yvonne, and we were hitting it like on fire. The fact that we had the same passion around it being a parent-lived story sharing, and enabling families to grow and be able to understand themselves, and that it's okay. It's all okay.
Everything is okay.
Yeah.
And everyone will be okay.
Definitely.
But I think it's quite a scary experience, especially if you're just starting out
It
and you've
is.
just got the diagnosis for your child or yourself or your
Definitely.
family, whatever that may be.
I
There
guess
is a
that's-
process, of course, that one goes through when they have had a diagnosis, or a family member had a diagnosis, child, etc., etc. There's a denial that happens.
Yeah, there's
Then
grieving.
You
Yeah,
grieve
you
for
do,
the
their
child you
future.
thought you were going to
Yeah.
have, and for how much of an impact it's going to have on your life, right?
Yeah.
Because, having a neurodiverse child does have a massive impact
Definitely.
upon your life, because you
Yeah.
are their everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, their safe space, their advocate. Like, you suddenly know things that you never knew you were going to know. And you are walking into the school having arguments with people.
That's so true.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
which is very much where you come into this,
Yes.
because not everybody is like us. And I think that's the point, right? Collectively, the three of us are very confident. Okay, we've had our imposter syndromes,
Yes.
and
Internal self-doubt.
everybody has that. Everybody
It's
has
not-
that.
That's natural.
But
yeah,
now, of
exactly.
course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. But we're here, right?
Yes.
We pulled our
That's what matters.
big girl
yeah.
panties
Yes,
on, and
exactly.
we're doing
Yeah.
this, which is
Definitely.
amazing. But not
Yeah.
everybody has that big voice,
Yeah, and
right?
that's
Which
part- as you said,
brings
that's why I came
us
in.
to
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think I was lucky in the UK was that I'd, gone through the whole process of a child with autism who's now 15. So I've gone through the journey, and for my sake was in the UK was having to battle with schools to get the support, helps, etc. for him. And again, it's a very lonely place. And what do I do? And one of my areas I went into was send a trustee at schools and become the special needs expert, which was great because I learned a lot. I got a lot of information, and then that helped me advocate for other parents. Because one thing I saw was, I could open my mouth. I knew things up, right, down, but I also had the confidence because of my past work to do that. But what I saw that some parents just don't, and why should they? Why should you have to argue, talk, be the loudest, and to get your point across just to get support for your child?
Or be heard.
Or be
in
heard,
fact.
exactly. Or not be told, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not speaking. They're a boy. That's what I was told, for instance.
Yeah.
And that's what really empowered me, and why in the UK I started working with parents, helping them work with schools, and just do that advocacy work. And really the key for me was over here was the same. I saw that gap here, and I think That's one thing all three of us see. That's great. We're very lucky here. The services, the supports, the psychologists, the ed psychs, the professionals. But where's the parent bit?
Yeah.
That's the part. And that's where I saw was that parents need someone to talk to. You can't always speak to family members. Often family members are the ones that just don't get it, or they say, there's nothing wrong. What are you talking about? It's you.
Or they're spoiled or badly behaved,
why can't you control
bad
your child?
parenting.
Yeah. And for me,
All of the above.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them.
All of the above.
ABC.
Yeah, and that's for me was like, I wanted to be that person people can talk to. I can coach them, can make them feel that they're not alone, that they're not going crazy and doolally, and also help them talk to schools, because also we tend to get very emotional. And I think as parents, you can go in and go rah at a school, and when sometimes you just need to take a breath or have someone that's a bit outside, not so close, just to go, hold on, why don't we just have a little conversation?
Yeah.
So that's where sort of my idea came from, and then I spoke to you, and
Here we are.
here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's a good point for us to sort of talk about the fact that Neuroaffirm is a... Go ahead.
I would say it's a community. It's an area where it will be a safe space for parents to come together and have no judgment, learn from each other. And what we're going to be hosting and having is a quarterly Stories That Connect series, and that is mainly around stories being shared and connecting the families together. So ultimately that's the main aim. There will also be like resources, a toolkit that I will be able to share with families that enable them to understand, okay, what next, and it's not going to be a manual, and at the same time there's no right or wrong. It's about what works for you at that moment and being able to navigate that journey. So that's in a nutshell where we're at today.
I guess the point is the Neuroaffirm Hub is a community platform, right?
Yeah.
For parents to come together primarily,
Yes.
and then hopefully the children, there'll be some format for them to join in later on. But it will be a place where parents can connect. Will that be online as well as in person?
Yeah, I think initially it's more about in person. It's the beauty of connection in interactions and being able to say, oh, hey, I heard your story, that resonated with me, and being able to build those connections that where you were able to bond over. It was an in-person event. Yes, now, of course, there may be also other groups, like I mentioned about the quarterly series, which is this an event where in person. However, there will be others like coffee mornings, for example, play dates potentially for the kids, depending on the age groups. And then we would even look at webinars on topics, workshops that we might collaborate together. So it's an evolving game, I would say.
But it's so needed. It's so needed because
we
it's
have all these WhatsApp groups, don't we? But not in-person groups.
Yeah, and I think like you and I have been to a few different sort of parent meetings that have been held here, mainly by the government, actually, over under the Jalila umbrella. Really interesting, all of them. But my main takeaway was actually that at the end of whatever talk it may have been, it was the parents who wanted to ask questions and they wanted to stay and talk to each other, because that's actually what people are missing, which is exactly it. I mean, what you're doing is perfect, because that is the part that people are missing. They want to talk to other parents and be like, okay, so you did this. Did that work? Does it not work? And not every solution is the same or tool is the same for every child. Every child is unique. Every person is unique. Their profile is unique. And parenting children with neurodiversity, it's a constant. Try this. Did it work? No, it didn't work. Try that.
It's always trial and error.
It's trial and error all the time. All the time. But if you're talking to people who are having real experiences, lived experiences like you, then one, you don't feel alone, and two, you're picking up tips that no doctor's going to tell you, no psychiatrist is going to tell you, because they're not living it. They know
Correct.
what the books tell them, but they don't know like the day-to-day living of what
Yes.
parents go through. So they can only give you a certain amount of resource. So what you're doing fills that gap perfectly, because I think there's a huge need for it.
Yeah.
And, you know, once we start telling people about what we're doing, I think people will really connect with that. Which then brings us, of course, to you, Yvonne. So can you tell us the name of your company and what you're going to be doing?
It's called the Unicus Collective, and Unicus means one of a kind, which I think all of us are, and collective meaning us coming together, which is quite important. So from my side, really, is taking the background of my experience with education, governments, and bringing that support here really in Dubai as a parent of neurodiverse children. What I'm going to be doing really is working with parents, individuals, and trying to give that extra support to them, just that other ear, because I think a lot of people might go to psychiatrists, psychologists, and that's great, but sometimes you just need someone to talk to advice from, that's lived in your world and gone through what you've gone through, but understands the sort of steps you need to take. And I think one of the biggest things I've seen here is people get a diagnosis and they've gone to the ed psychs, etc., and then it's, okay, I've got it. What next?
It's tumbleweed.
And you're just left and no one says anything.
Literally.
You paid for that.
You take the piece of
Cycles or
paper to
whatever.
the
And
school, and the
then-
school go, okay.
Yeah.
And they look at you, and you're like,
what
What do we need to do as
And they
well?
look at you as if you're supposed to then tell them what to do. Like,
Yes.
I don't
It's a
know.
bit like Spider-Man.
I've just got this piece of paper.
I'm still
You
navigating
said go
it.
get a piece of paper. I went and got a piece
I
of
know.
paper. Now what?
And then some people start talking about speech therapists, OTs, behaviour therapists, all these different ABAs, and you're like,
What does it all mean?
And
It's
what,
overwhelming.
Yeah.
in what even is this diagnosis? And do they have one thing? Do they have two? Do they have 10? And that's another thing. You might be told your child has autism, but you might need another look in, and they also have dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyspraxia. You know,
PDA,
PDA.
ODD,
You know, so it
OCD.
doesn't stop there, and it keeps on. So it's not the one diagnosis; it's the another few months. Oh, I think they've got something else. And I guess for me that's the journey I want to help with parents. It's just to be that person they go to. I have this diagnosis, or I think this is what's going on. What do I do next? I just need support. Then also, how do I talk to my school?
How do I talk to my
approach
child?
that? How do I talk to my
Like,
child?
navigating that conversation
How do I
is not
talk
the
to my
easiest thing.
husband or wife who's just in denial?
Yeah.
Number one, big one, how do I talk to the grandparents who believe I just not
Let's touch
not
on
disciplining
the
my child
partners.
properly as well. So
Yeah,
that's
I
another
mean,
one.
I think the greater family dynamic, yes, is something I
It's
think
a huge
I'll
one.
end up doing a whole episode on that,
Absolutely, yeah.
because
Yes, yeah.
you know, first of all, your nuclear family has
Yes.
got to understand and absorb
And
that.
be on board as well.
And I've been in meetings where, like, one of the parents is doing all the work, basically.
Yes.
They're the ones that have
Majority that way.
got
that was-
behind the diagnosis, grabbed it by the horns,
Yes.
and are
Yeah.
running with it and trying to advocate and do all the things. But they're then working against another parent who is in complete denial that anything is going
Definitely.
on. And I think that's a really tricky situation to be navigating, because you've got all your own feelings and you're trying to help your child. But then if your partner isn't on board with you, that I can imagine would feel quite isolating. So before you'd get to that bigger family piece, actually talking to the primary
partner,
parent about how to navigate the conversations with their partner, I think is really important. I mean, I went to a school meeting where there was a lady who was sat there pregnant with her 4th child, hormones all over the place, and she was like, I've got 1 out of 4 who I can see is different, and my husband just outright refuses to
I think
acknowledge
it's
it.
that refusal to
Yeah.
acknowledge, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what do you do next? And sometimes people just keep going, and that person's left behind. But then it's the family
But
friction.
does it then create relationship
Terrible.
conflict?
Absolutely.
That's the thing, right?
100%
Absolutely.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And the key is to bring them along at the beginning. But sometimes it's so fearful. Like, how do you approach that whole conversation? And I do think that's where, why hopefully I come in with, I can help as a family, like talk through it.
Yeah.
Because those words, autism, ADHD, it's so publicised and it's scary. Yeah. And some people be just like, what does this mean?
Well, it's not only that, it's that
it can
there's
feel scary.
nothing wrong with my child.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong with your child. Your child is fine.
Exactly.
You are fine. Your child is fine. Yeah. Nothing changed. Yeah. You have a piece of paper that's going to help you, to help them to navigate the world. Definitely. That is it. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just different. And different is good. Different is not bad. But that mindset is what has been ingrained into people for such a long time. Yes. And now the word autism scares some people, right? It does. Yeah, it does. Because there are all these preconceived ideas about what they will and won't be able to do. And maybe sometimes it gets some bad press. But ultimately, your child is unique to you. Yeah. Yeah. And their diagnosis is unique to them. But it doesn't define who they are. It's just something in them that they're going to need you to help navigate. That's all. Exactly. And it is also part of their brilliance as well.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
We've got enough brilliant people in this world.
Be celebrated. Yeah. If we were all the same, by God, it
look
would
at
be
the invention.
Boring.
But I always say, look at
boring.
Really boring. But also, look at all the comedians. Majority are ADHD. We'd have no fun. We'd have no art. We'd have no technology. I mean, really, neurodiverse people are pretty important to the world.
100%.
Because they bring a lot of joy to the world. And I think it's to try and help that don't. It is frightening. I don't think it's take away from that. I think all of us
you can't negate that. No,
but this isn't the end. This is the beginning. And once you really understand your child, especially, the way you can, and I think for all of us, you get more and more understanding about them, and then you start understanding yourself, and then you're like, ooh, I do think that way too. Yeah. And that's what happened to my husband, I would say, where it was like, wow. And now even more so now, every time he's like, yeah, I get how he feels. Yeah, I feel that as well. Yeah, I know what he's thinking. You're like, wow, before you just didn't see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
powerful.
Yeah, it does, but also can bring you closer.
Oh, 100%.
Much closer.
100%. Once as a family unit, you all start understanding each other better, then your communication as a family gets better. Definitely. Your empathy is better, right? Because everybody's got to be aware of each other and that each other has different needs. I mean, I have sensory issues. You both know that. I mean, I don't cope with noises or bright lights or all of the things. But, my children have had to learn that if you're going to put some horrific gaming music on, Mummy can go from hero to rage in about 5 seconds. Not even that, to be fair. Yes, but that's part of who I am. And it's something that people need to understand about me and accommodate. I mean, my husband, even last night, came in and I'd been sort of chilling on the sofa. He'd been out doing his thing and he just turns all the lights on and I'm like, like, what are you doing it's like to a vampire. And he's like, oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
But it's also the kids become very empathetic and they get each other and other kids. Like my son can pick up a neurodiverse kid
from a mile away.
Amazing. And the empathy is like, look, she's just acting that way because this teacher shouted or do this. Like, that's why they're acting. They just need a little bit of time out.
Yeah.
You're like, wow. Yeah. So you actually bring up some amazing children who are so empathetic because of what they go through and that we talk to them about it. Yeah. I think that's the key. Talking. All of this, the three of us, is about talking and not feeling this should be something hidden or ashamed.
100%.
And I think that's the three of us were very much on that. This is.
Yeah, I think I wanted to also just call it out that it's not as smooth sailing as we might just be representing it right now. Like I could say that I've had a lot of resistance and pushback, be it from my husband or my kids. They're like, well, why do I need to stand and be treated special in the school domain? Or, yes, I'm proud that I need to wear a loop buds, for example, to drown out the noise around me. But how is that going to be perceived? So there is an element of it's a process. It's not going to be smooth sailing. We're going to have our highs and lows. Yeah. It's like with the trial and error we were talking about earlier. It's a journey, and that's the beauty of being able to have someone step in and say, hey, I can help you navigate that within your family. I can help you drive that within the school, if it's in a school or a university domain, who knows, right? It could be at a later stage. And it's just so powerful because I was that person where I leaned in on Yvonne going, I need your help. How am I going to advocate and fight for my children's rights within the school? And it was just amazing to have that soundboard and be able to say, you know, just try it this way. And it just really helped. So I just wanted to pitch that in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, right? Because we've sort of touched on it that majority of neurodiverse children have neurodiverse parents.
Definitely.
Because, you know,
At least one of them is.
exactly. At least one.
More
if
and more
not
I go
two.
on, I'm like,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you start seeing it in your extended families.
yes.
Not that they're going to acknowledge it, but still, I mean, you start to see where it's come from. This didn't come from nowhere.
Exactly.
Yes.
Can't remember the point I was going to make, but you know, ADHD brain. Anyway,
good.
it'll come back to me.
We'll vibe it until you comes back.
That's part of it, though. See, this is it.
But it's
this is what
true.
kids are going for at school. Think about it.
But actually, that's a fair point. What I was
can't
actually
do
going to
it.
say is that being neurodiverse yourself means that sometimes navigating the school environment or
be
somewhere where
harder.
you have to advocate
Yeah.
is also challenging, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of neurodiverse people, for example, have an underlying anxiety level.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, going into an official meeting and not really knowing what the outcome's going to be or how you can get the best thing for your children, you know, as an anxious person, you're already living your life at sort of this sort of fright or flight type of feeling all the time, and then you're going into this environment where you have to advocate and be confident or whatever, and actually a lot of these parents are inside freaking out. You know what I mean?
Who's
true.
ever taught you what to say or do?
No one, no one teaches you.
And you're
I mean,
scared to either be a mouse or, or go crazy. There's usually this level of a parent. I'm going to be really quiet because I don't want them to be horrible to my child if I say anything.
That I hate.
That's the biggest,
I hate that
that's
thing.
the biggest one I hear.
The idea
honestly.
that your child is going to be treated badly
and I think
because
that
of the
really
way you
says it
behaved
wrong
in a
about the
meeting is
schools.
horrific.
That's
The
so
fact
wrong.
that parents have that
I've never
fear.
seen that. I don't see them doing that.
No, but the idea of it, of it is worrying, really. The outcome, like, you should be able to walk into school and tell them what you want. Obviously, don't shout at them. Don't be like, but advocate. And know that you're going to be heard and that things are going to be implemented without worrying or stressing or feel anxious. I mean, if I use myself, I never, ever in my school and university career ever sat in front of a principal. I have now. My son gets in trouble and I'm the one that ends up in the principal's office. You know what I mean?
You're the one that's in trouble.
Scary because I'm like, why am I being told off? What did I do? Like, okay, like, listen, like he is himself and he's learning how to navigate the world. But why am I being told off? But you feel like that, like,
Definitely.
Yes.
I definitely.
you know, and you've got all of these heads of this and heads of that and the principal and whatever, or sat with, looking at you, almost looking at you for the answers. And I'm like, I don't have them. Like, I send him to you for 8 hours of the day. I expect whilst he's
You're the
here,
expert.
you know the best thing to do with him. And you're still looking at me.
And as you said, most of us haven't been into school since we were 16 or 18.
Which was a while ago.
you know, this is like it's like crazy. And
not
schools have
spring
changed
chickens.
from our days as well.
Well, yeah.
So different.
And I think the schools here, like, certainly having been in the school
my gosh,
in
they're
the
amazing.
UK, here
Yeah.
versus the UK are
100%.
different. You went to school in
Australia,
Australia, right?
Yeah.
How do the schools here compare to Australia?
Well, I mean, I can't really compare now because I was at school a while ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, you were talking about like knowing yourself. I never understood myself until my kids. So I was one of these parents that was like, oh gosh, that's me. I was that person from when I was younger. I just wasn't understood, but I also was in a different time and I suppressed myself to avoid standing out. So I did a lot of strategies that now I'm realizing served me then, but doesn't serve me now, especially knowing that my children are similar to me. And to tell you that I knew ADHD, autism, no. I would be like making up a story. I had no idea about any of this stuff. I thought that my kid was just being a normal child. When I was being told multiple times by the school, oh, he's not navigating, he's not transitioning, he likes to fixate on certain activities. And I was like, okay, he's a child. What are you doing about it? You know, same concept. But in terms of school in Australia, what I understand of it now, having my sisters, you know, my nephews and everything else in between, it's understood. It's being talked about now. But speaking to my sisters, I'm like, did you even know about this? Like when we were in uni, even high school? No, none of this was discussed. That we were considered the troubled child if we stood out. So to compare it, it's a bit hard now, but I would say that it's important that we are also understanding that we're learning.
Yes, very much so.
Unlearning at the same time.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the area of understanding yourself is I'm learning to be a better person for myself, but for my kids at the same time.
And I think schools in the UK same, that it's an understanding. I think the big gap is the actual access to support and help.
True.
And be able to go in and see a teacher, because, you know, you never saw a teacher. You drop your kid and they've gone in and you don't get to go near that classroom. Whereas here you've got a lot more access to speak to a teacher, speak to the head. I mean, I'd never go to speak to a head unless there was a problem. Yeah. And I think that's another difference.
Yeah,
and then
access
we have
is different,
access
for sure.
to the services that we can.
Yeah. But I also
that's a big thing
think,
as well.
you saying about the schooling in Australia, it's difficult to compare because obviously when we were kids, autism and ADHD weren't really talked about. Dyslexia was, but only like on the cusp of it, let's say. What was I going to say? See, my brain's gone again.
Australia schooling, I can't
system.
compare it.
I was going to say, I was going to say that it's only really in what I would consider the last sort of 10 years here that you've started to see real changes here as well. Yeah. I think in the world, actually.
Definitely.
Like ADHD and autism start to be more understood, more widely spoken about.
Yes.
There's been very much here. For example, His Highness has included autism in the People of Determination.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The inclusion is outlined in the 2030 vision. He is very much concentrating on this.
Amazing.
But like everywhere else in the world,
It's a learning process.
it's learning, right?
Yes.
Like
Definitely.
our elder children are very much at what I consider the forefront of the change.
100%.
Yeah.
Almost the guinea pigs.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are the guinea pigs.
The guinea pigs.
Because they've seen the change.
They are.
I've seen the change. I have, having had him in school since he was 3, I've seen remarkable changes, not in just in like the idea of inclusion, the development of SEND departments, but also in the overall understanding. Sort of resources that are available, tools that are being implemented, language that's being used. No one would talk about masking 10 years ago. And that's basically what you were saying, right? You called it strategies for when you were at school, but now we would know that that's actually masking, right?
Exactly.
You were basically suppressing your true self effectively.
Absolutely.
To make yourself more amenable, more acceptable, more
sliding under the carpet and no one's gonna find me. That's what was, but that's where I was at, to be honest. And that's why my kids are great maskers. They are so good at it, and hey, they get it from somewhere. I mean, it's.
But do you
touch on that point?
On that? So maybe we can explain what masking is.
Yeah, I would say masking is pretty much not suppressing, but yes, working very hard to not expose that you are feeling you're uncertain about certain things. It's multiple areas. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to show that I'm nervous about something. none of my friends knew and were shocked when I said, I've got ADHD. They're like, what? I've never heard you come across you at any point, even where I shared that I have a negative bird in my mind that was constantly there since I was young, and I'm constantly battling this bird that will say, you're not enough, you're not good, oh, you need to be quiet, don't say anything. And that is the masking that I'm referencing. And I lost my train of thought for a moment. What was I saying?
You were saying that people didn't, when you told them you
they
had
didn't
ADHD.
believe me. Yeah. So that negative, there we go, thank you. That negative lack of confidence, not wanting to speak up, my friends were like, no way, I always thought you were that confident person that would go around and connecting people, and never would that have crossed my mind. I'm like, yeah, because it's in here. And that's the beauty of the invisible. Yeah. Right? We all look fine, and we are fine. We are okay. We're not broken, as we touched earlier. We're not here to fix kids or fix us as adults. It's about understanding ourselves, and this is where I'm now starting to let go of my mask and not always apply it. Sometimes, yes, I do need to, but this is where my whole being authentic, that's the main value that I've always had in myself, being honest and authentic. And that's where the guard is slowly coming down. So that's my experience, my way of explaining what masking is about, and I'm welcome for you to add to that.
I think that's become a really big thing, because they especially seen it in the UK, was the underrepresentation, underdiagnosis, especially with girls. Girls are the perfect maskers.
We're so very busy
good at
trying
chatting,
to do the right thing.
Chat. And everyone's, oh, they're fine. But inside they're like anxiety ridden, and they're holding it all in all day. I always think it's like a Coke can. This Coke can's all day at school or whatever, shaking. They get home, they're like, explosion.
Oh, the fizzy
and that's
bottle
when you get it.
effect.
Yeah, and that's when you get it home.
Yes.
And I thought, no, in the UK that was a big thing, that especially girls 12, 13 were suddenly being diagnosed, because I think with puberty maybe it just came out.
Yeah,
There's no more being able to hide it.
Yeah.
But for that very reason, there are as many girls with autism. It's just they mask better.
Yes.
And now, I mean, the same thing is happening,
We're
not
seeing it
just for
here
teenage girls, but a lot of sort of 40-plus-year-old women
getting
right?
themselves diagnosed.
Because we all went to school, we all conformed, we all were told, sit there, be quiet, and you learn how to do that. And you've been holding it all these years, and then you've had children, and you think you're slightly losing your mind. And then, you read a lot about women who then start going into perimenopause, and you've got, your ADHD symptoms being compounded with your perimenopause symptoms, and boom! Hello. I feel like I'm going completely nutty.
All of us. I mean, and since I've been here, that's one thing I do love at Dubai, that I didn't really see as much in the UK, was the amount of parents have now met who've got themselves diagnosed.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, because you're like, and it's great, because you're like, okay, I wasn't broken, I wasn't a bad behaved kid, so I wasn't stupid, if I did dyslexia, because it's such a range. Okay, this is what I'm just neurodiverse, great. Yeah. Which is actually, entrepreneurs on the whole are often neurodiverse. Yeah. That's why you don't want to work for someone else. That's the three of us, of course.
No, 100%.
But it's true, isn't it? I mean, and Dubai is number one for entrepreneurs. So we all come together, but we all talk about it, and I think that's to me the difference here. I've never spoken so much and been so open with people to talk about their journeys.
And I think that is
it's amazing.
Collectively what we are here for,
100%.
right?
Yes.
Talk about it, normalize it, educate not only the neurodiverse people, but the neurotypical people as well. We, excuse me, sometimes we need accommodations. Sometimes I'm not going to answer your WhatsApp straight away. Sometimes it might feel like I've disappeared for 2 months, but I'm still here. But I had to dig deep and do my own thing for a while. You know what I mean? We're not always the most present people, because having neurodiversity is a roller coaster. And actually, the more we collectively can help neurodiverse parents, families, children, all the people that will hopefully listen to this podcast and come to your groups and reach out to you for any support that they need. We are helping each other. We're helping up those families, but hopefully we'll also get neurotypical people listening or paying attention, and they'll learn a little bit more about how to help other people, because neurodiverse people are everywhere. Like you only need to open your eyes. But if neurotypical people can just learn to be that little bit more tolerant and understanding, and, we're a bit quirky. Yeah. We need you to understand we're a little bit quirky. We don't need you to do anything for us. Just be like, oh, yeah, it's Jen. Yeah, that's the way she is. Okay, whatever.
And it might be that wife whose husband is, and they just need a bit of support, or they need a bit of like, how do I navigate this?
Or somewhere to go, it's driving me crazy.
I know.
Crazy.
We do that a lot.
That's the thing. Like, you don't have to sit there and go, you can literally come
let it out
to the groups.
And you don't have to there's no fixing, just let it out.
Just let it out. Sometimes you just want to be like, oh my
I
God.
don't want advice.
Why?
And everyone go, I get that. I had that too.
Yeah, exactly. You are not alone.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's the point. You're not alone. It's a shared experience. We are here collectively
So it's like together in our differences, basically.
100%. Yeah. And, we're going to be working together, the three of us in our collective, and people are going to be able to reach us on our various Instagram pages, LinkedIn pages. If you could just talk about where to find you.
Yeah. So from my stance, it's neuroaffirm.hub. That's where it is from an Instagram perspective. And then you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm Sarah Youssef, so you can find that as well on LinkedIn and in everywhere. There is a website. It's not up and running to the point where it's amazing. It's just got links you to a form, I would say, to just get your email address and get you on board to the community. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. And you, Yvonne?
And the Unicus Collective. I'm Yvonne Barker-Layton, and it's unicus.ae. It's my website at the moment, and my Instagram. And for me, I've sort of got coming soon while I'm putting everything together. But same things, please feel free to reach out.
Absolutely.
I'll appear everywhere.
And of course, this is
for each
Explore the Neurodiverse, and I am Jennifer Bishop, and we will be launching our collective in April.
Yes.
And we'll be able to talk about that a little bit more when it's coming up, and we'll put it all out on our platform, so people will be able to hopefully come and join the event, meet us in person, and learn a little bit more about what we're doing.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank you
ladies,
so
for
much.
coming on
Thank you.
today.
Thanks for having
This was
us.
fun.
This is really fun,
wasn't it?
More of
It
these.
was.
We're going to do more of
Yeah,
this,
I
and
think it's really
that's the
good.
thing.
I
I
like
think
it.
because we're now working together, we'll come on so that people can sort of see how we're growing, the community's growing, the work's going, so they'll be able to connect with us more and more over the next few months, right?
I agree.
Yeah, some of those crazy stories would be great to tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm thinking some of those stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
No,
Well,
this
thank
was
you.
fun.
Thank you. That's
Thank
brilliant.
you.
It's great.